We are mostly aware that Cairo is one of the power cities of the modern world. It is a tourist hotspot and thrives from the lure of the surrounding wonders. But Cairo is also a very special city in the fact that it stands alone as the city that may hold more secrets to our ancient past than anywhere else in the world. Think about this. Cairo is surrounded with the most ancient structures on this earth from a time we are obsessed with because we are pretty much still in the dark as to what it was. Items of historical interest that have been found in the modern city continue to defy logical understanding. The city is built upon a ruined ancient site that was swallowed by the desert over tens of thousands of years. So is it any wonder that the great lecturer and author Robert Bauval is quoted as saying that, "In the dead of night and all night long, when the city is quiet enough, Cairo is filled with the sound of the residents digging in their basements for ancient artifacts." It's a strong statement and a shocking one to think that in Cairo City, all day and night, every day of the year, there is constant digging and looting of these ancient things taking place. The result of this is a billion-dollar global trade that has been going on for, well, God knows how long. If these things are worth billions yearly, then over the past 100 years alone, we are looking at a figure in value that is hard to even consider an existence of. If we were to tell you that the black trade has generated a number in excess of quadrillions of dollars, you are hard pushed to even imagine such money even exists. This, of course, has been the fuel of the super city. A constant disregard for history has seen Cairo flourish. It was once the colonial powers who benefited from these riches, and it makes you wonder that if they are still finding things daily, even after thousands of years of theft, how big was the ancient empire, and are we grossly misunderstanding the sheer size of the ancient civilization whom produced these things on a biblical scale? Wait till you hear this. The city is a contrast of ancient and new, east and west. The pyramids of Giza near Memphis stand at the southwestern edge of the metropolis, and an obelisk in the northeast marks the site of Heliopolis, where Plato once studied and is credited to have learned of Atlantis at this location. Between these extremes are other architectural monuments dating from Roman, Arab, and Turkish times. The city of Cairo has been a constant place of interest as long as our history will stretch, and you would be forgiven for suggesting that this is the center of the world. The Great Pyramid is located at the exact intersection of the longest line of latitude and the longest line of longitude. Coincidence? We think not. Some 5,000 years ago, Memphis, today lying mainly in ruins, was a thriving metropolis. According to a commonly accepted tradition, Memphis was founded about 2925 BC by King Menes, who supposedly united the two prehistoric kingdoms of Upper and Lower Egypt, giving us the dynastic period of Egypt. This unification was important. The original name of the city was the White Walls, and the term may have referred originally to the king's palace, which would have been built of whitewashed brick. In addition to crediting King Menes with the unification of Egypt by war and administrative measures, a tradition appearing in the Turin Papyrus and the history of Herodotus credits him with diverting the course of the Nile in Lower Egypt and founding Memphis, the capital of ancient Egypt during the Old Kingdom on the reclaimed land. The emergence of the Great Kingdom clearly left its mark on history, but we need to remember that they were not the first. There was a break between civilizations in the region, possibly as much as thousands of years between the cataclysmic event roughly 12,500 years ago and the re-emergence 5,000 years ago. The bit in the middle was possibly a dormant period where the great monuments and pylons were just sitting there awaiting the survivors to rediscover them. And that is what the dynastic period of Egypt was: a rediscovery, a reinterpretation, and a rewriting of history. This is becoming more clear to us every day. Incredibly, it is as if we are only now beginning to awaken to these truths. The possibility doesn't lie in the question of the dynastic Egyptian. It is in the watering down to fit history into these times. The force-fitting of the timeline, the squeezing of every single piece of pottery and brick into a period where it is known that not only did they not have the tools and equipment available for such undertakings, they also lacked the envisioning of such projects, and even crude replications are embarrassingly far short of the workmanship of the great monuments. That alone is enough to question everything. It's unknown if we will ever know what took place on this earth before the ancient cataclysm, but it's clear they were advanced, almost beyond belief. We have even had NASA employees suggesting to us on this channel that they are a master machinist who works as a contractor for JPL Laboratories, suggesting to us that they have created pieces, instruments, and components that went into the first power tools used on the ISS during spacewalks, and also the gears that are inside of the joints of the arm of the Curiosity rover. And they are adamant that some of the pieces shown in our previous video from Brian Forrester, Visits of the Cairo Museum, have completely baffled them, and they would only be able to replicate them with the original materials using multiple stage machines operations. They go on to say that the failure rate with the CNC machines while using diamond tip tools would be very high. We use mainly carbide tools to machine the majority of our metals, from titanium to heat-treated stainless steels that have Rockwell hardness, averaging from the 30s all the way up to the area of 48. This is some hard metal. This is mind-boggling when I think of what the official explanation is for when and who created these amazing objects. The looting, of course, is rife. You can go online and pluck stories left, right, and center of the scale this is on. In fact, it's off the charts and vastly unknown. Nearly 30 ancient Egyptian artifacts that narrowly survived the Arab Spring uprising in Cairo in 2011 have gone on display in Cairo. The exhibition, entitled Destruction and Restoration, includes 11 items that have been stolen from the Egyptian Museum. 18 other artifacts have also been restored after being damaged or destroyed by looters. They include 3 priceless statues from the era of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. One golden statue depicts him spearfishing from a boat on the Nile, while other treasures are from the era of Pharaoh Akhenaten. 54 artifacts went missing from the museum when looters broke in during the first days of the January 11 uprising that toppled presidential Hassani Mubarak. A mummy that had its head torn off during the looting has now been fixed, with experts using methods from the time to reattach it. 25 of the pieces have since been recovered, though several are still unaccounted for. Mohammed Ibrahim, State Minister for Antiquities, has insisted that none of the missing artifacts have been taken out of Egypt and that authorities were still searching for them, but these are only a few known items that were documented. There are countless undocumented treasures all over the world, and still 90% of these things are still to be discovered, hence the constant digging of the basements and desert at night. It is sad, guys, but there is still so much left to discover, and we can't change the past. There is so much to consider about Cairo, the obvious being the Giza Plateau and connecting Saqqara necropolis. There were possibly canals that linked the entire area that have since been swallowed by the sands of time. We hope you have enjoyed this second part as requested. You can let us know below what you are thinking, guys. And as always, thank you for watching.